a whole lot more room with the air box out. Then what you got to get is this is on the front of the turbo right there. You can tell they put these motors in, or they put the motor together before they put it in, because them things are always in an area where you can't get to them. This hose goes to the turbo wastegate, which is right there. This one here is the one that comes across here from the air box. This one here is this one here, okay? And this elbow here, which broke because it's so brittle, is the one that comes right here. It's down to the pressure side. And then you got this vacuum hose. There's a blow-off valve down there. This goes to the intake manifold right there. So we're going to go ahead and replace this because these are really brittle. I buy this 15 feet at a time. And these I have, there's actually probably one, well, there's usually one. Yeah, there's one right there. You can see the wastegate sticking out. I've always got 2 or 3 of them things laying around. So we won't have a problem with that. So now that we got this out of the way, we'll put that up there so we don't lose it. This is a high pressure oil. This is the coal or the water from the intake manifold. There's the banjo for the return right back there. And then there's a return that's bolted to the bottom of here going to the oil pan. I would recommend making sure you have new gaskets for the bottom of the turbo to the oil pan. If not, you'll have to make them out of some gasket material. And this gasket here and this gasket here. This one is probably the harder one to find. You'll probably have to get it at Volkswagen. These you can get off any website. AutoHaus, HAUZ.com usually has everything. And then while you got it out, make sure you spray these 317 millimeters with some oil, because they'll need it. Oh, and this banjo fitting is the pressure that turns the wastegate off. That's right there. Don't bust that. If you bust that banjo, you're in trouble. So there you go. That's that part of it. And then we got to get this hose busted loose and just pulled up out of the way. This little heat shield got 2 Allen, there's one there, there's one there, and 2 little screws in the side of the block. We'll get that out, but we're going to get those 2 hoses off first. Alright, we got this pipe loose, up out of the way. The pressure side for the oil pump, 17 millimeter up, just wired out of the way. I don't want to bend it and tweak it and, you know, screw it up, because it's a hard line all the way back to the oil pump stand where the oil filter screws on. I got the water line off. That one went right there. We have the clamp loosed to the pressure side of the turbo, and these bolts, this one under here and this one here, are potentially big time pain in the butt. I actually have a wrench made to where you can get up under there to get that one and that one. Okay, that notch hits the bottom of the exhaust manifold like that. So you can get these loose. There's no way to get a wrench in there, a ratchet. I mean, there is, but I mean, it's a real pain. The first one of these I took off, probably worked on it for 3 hours. And then finally I just made that wrench, and then that works perfect. So we'll get the plug in. I already got this bottom bolt loose. It's just sitting right there. You know, we'll get going. Alright, sometimes this happens. You have to remove the compressor. It's 4 13 millimeter bolts. Pop the belt off, it falls right off and lays on the ground with the hoses and everything hooked up to it. You have to drain the oil, because when you pull the oil return hose off, it's going to lose it anyways, so you might as well just pull it off now. This banjo nut is a 19, and there's a 10 millimeter that goes in the front of the turbo right next to the wastegate. It's a little 10 millimeter bolt. There's a bracket. You can't see it from here, but there's a bracket that goes down from the bottom of the turbo to the block that you have to get off. And the compressor's blocking your way, and it just makes it easier just to take 2 minutes to pull that compressor down. You got to jack the car up in the air anyways, so Went ahead and did that. And there's the turbo. You can see how wet it was in the front. I mean, it was leaking out the front. That's oil. So we'll go ahead and get the other one cleaned up and get this pipe transferred to it. This is that bracket that goes to the block. We'll get this pipe off, put it on our new turbo, and go ahead and stick it in. The motor actually runs pretty clean. Tell you what, that's why this thing was so slow. Wastegate was broke. Had absolutely no turbo boost. So there you go there. That's why this thing was so slow. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get the new turbo out of the car and get it cleaned up. We got a used one actually. It's actually the one that come off my green one. I had swapped it and put a better one on it. And we'll go ahead and get it cleaned up and get it put on. Alright, we got our turbo in there and bolted to the exhaust. But you want to leave it loose so you can get your banjo bolt in. You can pull it back. Get your banjo bolt started. Then once you just snug it, don't tighten it, just snug it. And then there's a 10mm bolt that goes in right there. You can actually see the bracket, that shiny bracket back there that the bolt goes into that holds that banjo bolt. Or holds that banjo fitting up to the side of the wastegate. So then we'll go ahead and put them 3 bolts in. We went ahead and this is how you get the oil filter out. You take the 3 screws out of the tank, stick your arm down there, get the oil filter out. We went ahead and got a new oil filter, new oil, new antifreeze, because you got to drain it out anyways, so might as well just put new stuff in it. And we're going to go get those 3 bolts on. Then we're going to go down below and put the return back onto the oil pan, and then we'll come back. Alright, we got turbo on, all bolted up, all the lines hooked up. The intake side is hooked up. Everything's tied up underneath. The AC compressor's back on, the belt's on. I went ahead and filled it up. You know, you got to make sure you shut your valve off in the front. Shut your grill. I put 4.5 quarts of oil in it. I went ahead and put some antifreeze in it so it'll get a chance to burp while I'm putting the air box in and getting that buttoned up. And then we'll be ready to try and start it. I noticed this vacuum line was hard as a rock and broke, so I'm going to take it off. And I've got another one sitting over there I just got. So we'll get the air box on and a couple other things buttoned up, and then we'll see if she'll start. See if she starts. Water. Cheers, boys.